Okay, so a few of you guys have asked about my OBS, which is your broadcasting system that you use when you're using Twitch, for example. This is Project OBS, otherwise known as like default OBS. It's very similar in setup to Stream Elements, which I don't have installed at the moment. This is what it'll look like when you open up for the first time. Now, you're getting a recursive effect because I'm displaying the whole screen in OBS, which is then displaying the whole screen within OBS, and so on and so on and so on and so on forever. But if you just look here, essentially you've got default chat, which is useful so you know who's in your stream watching you. This is set up with another bot to either show merch, or sometimes I have like a browser source up here, which I'll come to in a second. I've got my scenes down here, which change basically, just go to a whole different scene, different window. So you can have a main one. This is for my games. My games show up here when they're playing. And then if I want to go back into like predominantly me, then I'll usually use this channel. I've got a starting soon and be right back, but they're not set up yet, but they would be here. They can be changed with the keyboards, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the hotkeys can be altered as well. You've got your audio mixer here that shows all your audio inputs. Now I've got quite a few coming from like alerts. I've got my actual microphone on my headset right now. That is this one here, and then a backup one for a different channel. Video capture device picks up the game sound. Rocksmith is really good. It has its own microphone system, and it tends to pick up straight away in OBS. So it's really useful. You just need to like manage your volume mixers. You can do that obviously in Windows, which I can do in Windows here, or you can adjust just levels with this. You can also boost levels by going to the settings, advanced audio properties, and you have some boost capabilities there and some equalizing stuff. And that's more or less it for the setup of OBS. I'll show you how long you've been live. If I was live streaming, which I'm not, I'm just recording through OBS at the moment. And I'm recording for about 2.5 minutes, shows my CPU usage and the frames per second that it's outputting at that time. So this is a really useful thing to have on a second window, and I recommend having a second window when you're using Twitch. It's very useful. A second computer is ideal, because then you're not drawing any CPU away from having a second browser open, or OBS or Chrome or anything like that. And then I've got this fairly simply set up. So if I go back to my main game, you'll see that I've got a camera input here, I've got my chat here, which is doubled up, and I've got a basic logo and my latest follower. Latest subscribers and bit throws would also show up above, but I'm not at that level to have that on my Twitch yet, so it's just latest followers really that shows up at the moment. You know, still absolutely adore anybody that follows. Great. And so, without going into any custom overlays and stuff, which you can look into relatively simply, just go, put it into Google or put it in Streamlabs, Stream Elements. Loads of free ones, some really good paid ones as well. But if you just want to set up your OBS for like basic starting up streaming, then I do it this way. I'd have two scenes. I'd have your main and your main game if you're predominantly a gamer. If you're just broadcasting, you're playing an instrument, then you maybe just need one scene. But yeah, so I'll come down to sources. Now sources is how you get things into your overlay basically, and it's layered in the same way that Photoshop is. So your top layer will show up above everything else, and your bottom layer will be below everything else. If I pull this chat across, you can see it goes below my camera feed because it's below it in the list. Fairly straightforward. This itself is an image that I've saved. I've created it, I've saved it, and if you see, it's going to a local file, which is in my personal computer directory. Chat is its own widget, which is fairly easy to throw in from Streamlabs, and I'll come to that back in a second. I've got mic input, which is just, you just set it up. So if I go to add new source, you can set up browser source, things for anything on a browser, you know, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Safari, Opera, something like that, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer. Audio output capture, so if something's going out of a system, so out of Rocksmith or out of another game, and you want to capture it, then you can do an audio output capture. The audio levels can get a bit confusing. It depends what game you're playing. So Rocksmith doesn't like it when I stream the sound straight to my headset. It'll stop my mic output from going to the stream. But PUBG, it likes it that way. So you kind of have to set things up as to per what game you're playing. And it's always useful doing like 5-10 minute prep before you start a stream as well. If I just come back to video capture device, this is run through the OBS. It's picking up my camera, which is plugged in as a USB. First time you open this, it might go black, especially if you've plugged in the camera after you've opened OBS. At which point, close OBS, reopen it, and this should appear. And then it'll be there. You can scale it, you can do whatever you want with it. And if you want to keep it in ratio, you can press Shift, and it'll keep it in the original ratio, which is quite useful. Latest follower. This is what's called a label, and these are predominantly through Streamlabs. So if I just go to my Streamlabs dashboard for a second. So you can see my, the stats and stuff like that. But on the left hand side here, you've got widgets, you've got your alert box, CloudBot. CloudBot will do all your commands and stuff. Widgets, everything else is in there. So your chat box, just click on that, it'll go through it. Donation goals, same thing. You can add tickers, emote walls, which is where it throws the emote in. All is relatively straightforward. Media share as well, view account, sub goals, banners. Streamlabs is very good for having quite good, simple widgets. So for example, if I click on the chat box, what it does is it gives you all your options for your chat box, and then here it shows you widget URL. What you need to do is, once you've set up your chat box in the way you want it, don't worry about font too much here. I don't think you can really change. Well, you can change it here, but it doesn't really matter too much. Copy the widget URL and go back into OBS, and then for the chat box, that is going to be, if I remember right, it would be a browser. Let me just check what my chat is actually already. Properties. So it's a local file. Yes, I think I did that as a browser source last time. And then in the URL, you change it to the widget URL that you've just copied, and then OK that, and then that will be your chat. And that, as simple as that. Mine's over here in red, but that's the one I've just created. I'm just going to delete it because I don't need it. But that will work, and as soon as people start typing in your chat, it will show up. Mine's down here, and so on. So that's how to get the stream chat up, and other basic things like the follower count. I'll put, in fact, I'll put the. Just go back and put the follower goal back on. Not donation goal. That was not the one I wanted. I wanted the follower goal. Follower goal. So again, copy that as a widget. Go back into OBS, and because it's been done through another browser, I'll do it as a browser source. Name it something useful, so I'm going to put as follower goal, and then again you paste the widget URL that you put in, and that will give you a July goal. Now your July goal can be edited, to your numbers and what is preset at. For example, mine's set at 50 and the current amount's 15, but if I reset it, if I end the goal and then start it again, so if I do July, August goal, let's say my goal amount is 30 followers, but I already know I've got 15 people through July. Put 15 as my starting amount, and we end it on the 30th of the 8th, which I think is the last day. And sorry, it's going to be an American, so it's 08/30, and then 2020. That would start my goal, and then you come back and it will update automatically. So that's how to get your July goal in. Your follower goal, should I say. Labels are a little bit more difficult. And before I come to that, I'll just mention the fonts as well for the chat. So on the chat, if you go back into it, properties. Sorry, not in where is it? Where's the font again? Go to. Oh, it's for this one. Yeah, the chat's predefined, so you set it up before you click the widget URL, but it'll auto update because the URL stays the same. Font for labels can be a little bit complicated. So with labels, if I come back to my Streamlabs dashboard, go down to Stream Labels. What you need to do is you need to download a program using whatever whatever operating system you're using, Debian, Linux derivative, OS X, Windows, whatever. I've already got the file, but I'll just download it again and just show you what happens. So it's setting up, and it'll probably clash with the one that's open already, but I'll just show you what happens as you set it up. Should I click on to close it? Okay, I don't want it to interfere with my labels, but essentially what it would do, it was open up a window like this. You may need to log in, I can't quite remember, but once you've done that, you'll essentially have all your latest things that have happened, activities, and then you've got some media stuff here, some alerts, changing stuff. You can add a spin wheel, which is really cool. And this needs to be open, this window, when you're using ops. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, but your labels won't update. It will stay with the last thing that is said. So, as I just come back to this, once you've done that, I'm going to get rid of donation train, get rid of that. Once you've set that up, you then come back into ops, and once, as you set this up, it will ask for a directory to store the files in. I just made a document called Twitch, and inside Twitch, I'll show you. So, Twitch, not the Witcher, Twitch. So yeah, I've got some like backup codes, ban code, and Twitch label output is what I defined the directory to be. This is what we'll download with that. And in here you have loads of different labels basically, and I'm currently using most recent follower, which is this one. So back in ops, what you need to do is open up a new source, and then you go to text GDI. Call it whatever you want, example. And then in here, what you need to do is read from file, and choose the file to be from that directory. So if I go back to it, which label output, and the particular file I want to show is the latest follower. So I'll just copy it, and you'll see a copy of it because I'm doing it twice for the second time. Latest follower. Keep losing it. Where's it gone? Most recent follower. There we go. Okay, so once you've done that, you now need to, change your fonts, change your size and all the stuff. But you want to make sure you do this before you start scaling it, and that's because it doesn't scale as a vector image. And that basically means you're going to get jagged edges, and it's going to look less defined if you try to OK this and then let me do a better example. So if I go back to properties, change the font size to be 72, for example. Okay, I need to be bigger than 72 actually. So select font, is that the biggest it's going to go? Let's try 720. That's not going to do it, is it? 710? No. Basically, if you have it set up with the incorrect font size and then you try to scale it to match, if you pull it too big, it can get, you see how it's like out of resolution here? Well, that can happen pretty quickly. So you want to make sure your font is correct in that window and try to stretch this as least as possible. Generally, if you make it big and then stretch it down, it doesn't make too much of a difference, but that's how to get your labels up. And I've got 3 more labels here, which just aren't showing up right now, but that's done. And that, like I said, once this window's open, then that'll work. Sorry, I just realised I was on the wrong scene for ages. I'll just go back to this, sorry, to show you. So that's the alert box. And just go back to get rid of that. It will show my default. Just close that, actually, it's been a pain in the ass. So just about open it up, it will show my default activity. There you go, so my latest followers. And then that needs to be open to make sure the label works inside the stream. If I just go back to dashboard, sorry, I think I wasn't showing you it, but if I just go back quickly, you need to download a file in there. Your chat box is in here, your stream labels are there, moat walls, all the rest of the stuff. And Streamlabs is really good for almost every type of edition, really. Stream Elements has a few good ones, and Nightbot adds a few nice things as well. Just like mix and matching stuff, basically. But you can use kind of any widgets with more or less any ops. It doesn't really make a difference. That's the stream manager as well. You want to make sure you edit stream info and put it in the right category when you are going live, because it doesn't really do it automatically. And yeah, that's basically it. Most of it is just working out like your widget URLs that work for most browser sources, and then working out your audio inputs. Like I say, my mic is set up for my headset mic. That's just found in, one of the devices. You just set up in Windows or whatever operating system you're using. That's more or less it, really. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, I might be looking to do a proper overlay soon, but that's a fairly simple way of setting up a basic OBS to start streaming. This isn't actually the style of the Tesla font at the moment, but if anybody wants me to make them a custom logo, I can certainly give it a go. Just give me a shout. That's basically it.